Hello students, I welcome all of you to Empower. Myself Ramdeep, physics lecturer. In today's class, I'll be talking about an interesting topic called electric charges. Why the study of electric charges is very important. Can you tell me why electric charges is so important? We all know that every substance in the universe is made of atoms. Atoms contain charges. Without the understanding of electric charges, it is not possible to study our physical world. That is why charges are very important. And one more thing, we use so many electronic gadgets like television, refrigerator, computers, mobile phones, etc. in our daily life. Without the knowledge of electric charges, we can't define electric current. So, without electric current, it is not possible to explain the working of electronic gadgets. It means the study of electric charges is very important. Dear students, in today's class, I'll be talking about a very interesting branch of physics called electrostatics. What is electrostatics? It is a branch of physics which deals with static charges, or I can say electric charges at rest. So, electrostatics deals with static charges and various concepts related to static charges like electric field, electric flux, electric potential, capacitance and so on. So, after gaining sufficient knowledge about electrostatics and electric charges, you can explain the working of air filters, laser printers or inkjet printers. So, electric charge is an integral part of our life. Why? Because everything in the universe is made of atoms. Atom contains charges. So, let's start the first chapter in electrostatic, and it is called electric charges and electric fields. To understand the meaning of electric charge, you must have some knowledge about structure of atom and gravitational force. So, I think most of you know the structure of atom. The atom contains a central core called nucleus. Nucleus contains protons and neutrons, and electrons are revolving around nucleus. How many particles are present in atom? 3 particles: protons, neutrons and electrons. Can you tell me what is the mass of proton, neutron and electron? Mass of proton is 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kg. Mass of neutron is almost equal to mass of proton, so 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kg, and mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kg. Dear students, tell me what is gravitational force? Gravitational force is an attractive force present between two masses. Consider two masses m1 and m2 separated by some distance r. These two bodies always attract each other because of gravitational force. So, mass is a property responsible for gravitational force. And remember, gravitational force is always attractive. Using structure of atom and gravitational force, I explain the definition of electric charges. So, instead of two masses, I take two protons. What happens when two protons are placed very close to each other? Proton has mass. Because of mass, we can expect attraction. Similarly, tell me what happens when two electrons are placed very close to each other? Electron has mass. Because of mass, we can expect attraction. But you are wrong. When two protons are placed very close to each other, they always repel each other. Similarly, when two electrons are placed very close to each other, they always repel each other. Why? There must be some property responsible for repulsion. The repulsive force between two protons or two electrons is called electric force. So, which property is responsible for electric force? A property responsible for electric force is called electric charge. Now, I place two neutrons very close to each other. Neutron has mass. Because of mass, they always attract each other. Remember students, neutron has no charge. It means no repulsion between two neutrons. From this slide, it is clear that proton has charge, electron also has charge, but neutron is electrically neutral. It means neutron has zero charge. Electric charge is a property responsible for electric force and it is represented by letter Q. What is the SI unit of electric charge? SI unit of electric charge is Coulomb. And electric charge is represented by Q. So, unit of charge is represented by capital C. So, capital C stands for Coulomb. So, electric charge is always a scalar quantity. It means it has only magnitude but no direction. Now, the question is, what is the charge of proton and charge of electron? So, charge of proton is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 Coulomb. Charge of electron is also 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 Coulomb. Dear students, can you tell me what is the charge of neutron? I already told you that neutron is a neutral particle. It is electrically neutral. It means charge of neutron is 0. But we have a problem here. What is it? I give you a body which contains 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 Coulomb charge. Can you tell me which particle is present on the body? Proton or electron? Well, it is not possible to tell. Why? Because charge of proton is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. Charge of electron is also 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 Coulomb. How to solve this puzzle? The answer was given by Benjamin Franklin. He named charges as positive and negative. He named protons as positive and electrons as negative. Now, the problem is solved. The charge on the body is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 Coulomb. It means it contains a proton. What if they give you minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 Coulomb? The body has electron. Because of plus and minus sign, we can differentiate protons and electrons. So, plus and negative sign together called polarity. So, what is polarity? It is a property which differentiates two types of charges. So, because of plus and minus sign, we can tell whether the particle is proton or electron. So, plus and minus sign are together called polarity. Now, I have a question in my mind. Whether electric charges have properties or not? If yes, so what are the properties of electric charges? The answer is in the next heading. So, what are the properties of electric charges? There are some basic properties. The first basic property of electric charge is charges are additive. So I take a body which contains some charges, say Q1, Q2, minus Q3 and Q4. What is the total charge on the body? So total charge on the body is always equal to sum of all the charges. So total charge Q is given by Q1 plus Q2 minus Q3 plus Q4. Dear students, I take one more body which contains 3 charges, say 1 coulomb, 2 coulomb and 3 coulomb. Can you tell me what is the total charge on the body? So total charge on the body is always equal to sum of 3 charges, 1 coulomb plus 2 coulomb plus 3 coulomb, which is equal to 6 coulomb. Just like numbers, we can add electric charges. So this is one of the basic property of electric charges. Now I'll go to the second property of electric charge. The second basic property of electric charges is conservation of electric charges. So what do you mean by conservation of electric charge? Charges can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can only be transferred from one body to another. So I'll give you a simple example for this. So this is a body which contains 4 negative charges. This is a body which contains 0 charges. Can you tell me what is the total charge? 4 plus 0 is 4. Now I transfer 3 charges from one body to another. How many charges are left here? 1. How many charges are present on the second body? 3. Tell me what is the total charge present? 1 plus 3 is equal to 4. Now before transferring electric charges, total charge is 4. Even after transferring charges, total charge remains same, 4. This is called conservation of electric charges. The third basic property of electric charge is quantization of electric charges. What do you mean by quantization? I take a body. Can you tell me how many charges can be transferred to given body? I can transfer 1 electric charge or 2 electric charge or 3, 4, 5 and so on. It is not possible to transfer 1.5 electron. Remember this. So it is not possible to transfer 2.5 electrons, 3.6 electrons. We can only transfer 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 electrons and so on. So this property, special property is called quantization of electric charges. Can you tell me how many charges can be removed from the body? Yes, you are correct. So I can remove 1 electron or 2 electron or 3 electron and so on. It is not possible to remove 1.5 charge, 2.1 charge. According to quantization of electric charge, total charge on a body is always equal to integral multiple of charge of electron. When you add electrons to given body, the body becomes negatively charged and we get Q equals minus Ne. When you remove electrons from a body, it becomes positively charged and we get Q equals plus Ne. In general, Q is equal to plus or minus Ne. The body can be positively charged or negatively charged, where N is always equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. The value of N cannot be 1.1, 1.2, 2.4, 2.6 and so on. These are the basic properties of electric charges. In addition to basic properties, we have some additional properties. So what are they? The first general property of electric charge is here. I take a glass rod. So glass rod contains equal number of positive and negative charges and I take a piece of silk. This also contains equal number of positive and negative charges. When I rub these two, glass rod acquires positive charge and silk acquires negative charge. I take one more piece of glass rod and one more piece of silk. When you rub these two, a glass rod acquires positive charge and silk acquires negative charge. When two positively charged glass rods are placed close to each other, they always repel each other. Can you tell me what happens when negatively charged silk pieces are placed close to each other? You are correct. They always repel each other. From this, it is clear that like charges always repel each other. When a positive charge is placed very close to another positive charge, or when a negative charge is placed near another negative charge, they always move away from each other. So that is the next property of electric charge. So like charges always repel each other. Can you tell me what happens when positively charged body is placed near negatively charged body? Make a guess. Glass rod is positively charged and silk is negatively charged. So these two are placed very close to each other. What do you expect? Attraction or repulsion? You are correct. They always attract each other. From this, it is clear that unlike charges always attract each other. It means when a positive charge is placed near negative charge, they always attract each other. This is the general property of electric charge. Here is the next property. Charges always reside on the surface of conductor. What does it mean? I transfer some electrons to given body. The charges always remain on the surface of body. They never go inside the body. That is the meaning of second property. Whenever electric charges are added to given body, they always remain on the surface of body. The third property of electric charge is charge on a body is independent of motion of body. It means a body at rest contains 4 negative charges. Tell me what is the number of charges present on the body? 4. And the body is at rest. It means velocity of body is 0. When the body is not moving, charge on the body is 4. Assume that the same body is moving with some velocity. Can you tell me what is the charge on the body now? Yes, charge on the body remains same. Whether the body is at rest or in motion, charge always remains same. This is the third general property of electric charge. Dear students, we discussed 3 basic properties of electric charges and 3 general properties of electric charges. Very important properties, don't forget them. After discussing the properties of electric charges, I will explain what type of materials allow electric charges to flow through them easily and what type of materials do not allow electric charges to flow through them easily. Here is the first type of material. It is called conductor. What are conductors? It is a material which allows electric charges to flow through them easily. The resistance to the flow of electric charges is very less. As a result, the charges move easily inside the material. Such materials are called conductors. Some examples for conductors are metals. All metals are good conductors of electricity. They allow charges to flow through them easily. One more example is human body. We are very good conductors of electric current. Our body allows electric charges to flow easily. The third example is earth. So this is very surprising. So earth is a very good conductor of electric charges. It allows electric charges to flow through it easily. The next type of material is insulators. What are insulators? Insulators are materials which do not allow electric charges to flow through them easily. The resistance to the flow of charges is very high. Because of high resistance, charges cannot move from one point to another point easily. Such materials are called insulators. Can you name one or two examples for insulators? Material which does not allow electric charges to flow through them easily? Yes, you are correct. So, first example is glass. Glass is an insulator. Second one is plastic. It does not allow electric charges to flow through it easily. Nylon and porcelain. So, these are some of the examples for insulators. After understanding conductors and insulators, so I'll explain some real life examples. So, assume that you are standing on a metal piece barefoot and you are about to touch a wire which is carrying current. What do you expect? You are standing on a metal piece barefoot and you are trying to hold a metal wire which is carrying current. Your body experiences electric shock. You know why? The wire is carrying current. When you touch the wire, charges enter your body. Your body is a conductor, so charges flow easily. You are standing on a metal piece. Metal is a good conductor and metal piece is placed on the surface of earth. From your body, charges enter metal and then the charges enter earth. Charges are moving continuously from wire to ground. Whenever charges move continuously from one point to another point, we experience electric shock. How to avoid electric shock? Very simple. Use insulators. Instead of standing on a metal piece, you stand on insulator like glass, plastic or a piece of wood. Tell me what happens when you stand on a wooden piece and hold wire? Charges cannot flow from one point to another easily because you are disturbing, you are cutting the flow of electric charges. So, wood will not allow electric charges to flow through it easily. Therefore, the flow of electric charges stop and we never experience electric shock. The knowledge of conductors and insulators is very important because we can avoid electric shock if we know something about electric conductors and insulators. So, after gaining some knowledge about conductors and insulators, I just want to explain something related to domestic circuits. The circuit what we use in our house. The circuit what we use in our house contains three parts. The first one is called live wire, which is always maintained at high voltage. It always carries high voltage. The second part is neutral wire. It is always maintained at low potential because of potential difference. So, one end is maintained at high voltage and the other end is maintained at low voltage. Because of potential difference, current flows through circuit. The interesting part of domestic circuit is the third part. It is called earthing. Now, the question is why we need earth wire. So, this wire is connected to a big piece of conductor and the conductor is buried underground. Why we need earth wire? So, this is very important, students, because whenever extra charges enter domestic circuit, the extra charges are sent to earth with the help of earth wire so that we can avoid damages to electronic gadgets. The process of sharing electric charges with earth is called earthing or grounding. What is earthing or grounding? Any extra charge entering domestic circuit is sent to earth with the help of a wire called earth wire. This process is called earthing or grounding. What is the use of earthing or grounding? We can avoid damages to electronic gadgets. Just check the switchboard present in your house, you will always find these three parts: live wire, neutral wire and earth wire. So, live wire and neutral wire are very useful for providing electric current, and earth wire is used to avoid damages to electronic gadgets. It looks very interesting, right? You all know what is the use of earthing or grounding. What is the use of extra wire called earth wire? The next concept is how to charge given body. Assume that a body is given to you and it is neutral. The total charge of given body is 0. How to charge given body? The answer is here. Electrification. What is electrification? It is the process of charging a body. Under this concept, I will explain how to charge given body. You take any atom, example hydrogen. Hydrogen contains how many protons? Yes, you all know 1 proton. And how many electrons? 1 electron. What is the charge of proton? 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. What is the charge of electron? Minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Add these two. What do we get? We always get 0. It means charge of hydrogen is always equal to 0. Take some other element. So, I take helium. So, helium contains how many protons? Yes, 2 protons and 2 electrons. Can you tell me what is the total charge of helium? It is always equal to 0. Take some other element. So, I take iron. So, iron contains how many protons? 26 protons. How many electrons? 26 electrons. Add these two, we always get 0. From this, it is clear that atom is electrically neutral. You take any atom, it is electrically neutral. It means total charge of any atom is 0. Now, I take a material made of say iron. Can you tell me what is the total charge of given body? It is always equal to 0. Why? Because the body contains large number of iron atoms. What is the charge of one iron atom? 0. If I take 2 iron atoms, still 0. 3, 4, 10, 20 iron atoms, 0. Assume that this body contains hundreds of atoms. So, what is the total charge of the body? It is always equal to 0. So, I take simple example. Assume that the body contains 10 protons and 10 electrons. Can you tell me what is the total charge of the body? It is always equal to 0. I can say the given body is neutral, electrically neutral. I take same body which contains 10 protons and 10 electrons. Now what I do is I add 2 electrons. Now tell me what is the total charge on the body? I can cancel 10 protons and 10 electrons. We are left with 2 extra electrons. Now the total charge of the body is not equal to 0, it is minus 2e. The body contains 2 electrons. Now I can say the body is charged. When do we say a body is charged? When electrons are added to neutral body. I take one more example. I take same body, 10 protons and 10 electrons. What is the total charge of the body? 0. Therefore, the given body is called neutral body. Now, I remove 2 electrons from the body. Tell me what happens. When you remove 2 electrons from the body, we are left with 8 electrons. I can cancel 8 electrons and 8 protons. We are left with 2 protons. It means the body is positively charged. Tell me what is the total charge on the body? 2 protons. The body is positively charged. When do we say given body is charged? When electrons are removed from neutral body. From this, it is clear that a neutral body can be charged by adding electrons or removing electrons. The method of adding or removing electrons from a neutral body is called electrification, or the method of charging a body is called electrification. Very interesting concept, right? You all know how to charge neutral body. Very simple concept. Just add few electrons to given body or remove few electrons from given body. Neutral body becomes charged body. There are different methods of electrifications. So in the next heading, I will explain how to charge a given body using different techniques. The first method of charging a body is charging by friction. I take two bodies, a glass rod and a piece of silk. Observe the diagram carefully, both are uncharged. What does it mean? Glass rod contains equal number of positive and negative charges. Silk also contains equal number of positive and negative charges. It means total charge of glass rod is 0 and total charge of silk is also 0. Now I rub these two against each other. When two bodies are rubbed against each other, some charges flow from one body to another. Now look at the diagram carefully. Glass rod loses electrons and silk gains electrons. It means glass rod becomes positively charged and silk becomes negatively charged. Observe the diagram carefully. So these are neutral charges because this portion contains equal number of positive and negative charges, and the remaining end of glass rod contains 5 positive charges, excess positive charges. That is why glass rod is positively charged. The outer edge of silk is neutral and the middle part contains some extra electrons. That is why silk is negatively charged. What is charging by friction? When two bodies are rubbed against each other, charges move from one body to another. As a result, they get charged. From the diagram, it is clear that glass rod loses electrons, or I can say the glass rod is positively charged. Whenever a body loses electrons, it becomes positively charged. What happens to mass of body? Glass is losing some charges. It means its mass is decreasing. Similarly, silk gains electrons. As a result, it becomes negatively charged. Can you tell me what happens to mass of silk? It acquires extra charges. As a result, its mass increases. This is all about charging by friction. When two bodies are rubbed against each other, charges flow from one body to another. As a result, the bodies get charged. Now, I'll go to the second type of charging. It is called charging by conduction. This is a charged body. To be precise, a negatively charged body. And I take a neutral body. This contains equal number of positive and negative charges. So total charges 0. What happens when neutral body is placed in contact with charged body? Charges flow from one body to another. Now observe the diagram carefully. This body has excess electrons. It means it is no longer a neutral body. I can say it is a charged body. This method is called charging by conduction. So what is charging by conduction? When a charged body is placed in contact with uncharged body, charges move from one body to another. So this method is called charging by conduction. The third method of charging is called charging by induction. So what is charging by induction? I take two spherical conductors A and B. Both are uncharged. Total charge of A is 0 and total charge of B is also 0. They are placed in contact with each other and they are placed on insulating stands. Now I place a charged body very close to A. Just look at the diagram. A and B are uncharged bodies and they are placed on insulating stands. Now a negatively charged body is placed very close to A. Tell me what happens when negatively charged body is placed very close to A. Like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. I use one of the property of electric charge. Negatively charged body attracts negative charges present on A and B. Negatively charged body attracts positive charges present on A and B, and negatively charged body repels negative charges present on A and B. Redistribution of electric charges takes place. Just look at the next diagram. Because of attraction, all the positive charges are accumulated very close to negatively charged body. Because of repulsion, negative charges accumulate at the other end of B. In the presence of charged body, I separate A and B. Charged body is present. I just separate A and B. From the previous diagram, it is clear that A contains positive charges and B contains negative charges. Now what I do is, I remove negatively charged body. When I remove negatively charged body, tell me what happens? Body A contains positive charges. Positive charges are very close to each other. Like charges are very close to each other. As a result, they repel each other and charges distribute uniformly throughout the surface of A. Same thing happens on the surface of B also. B contains negative charges very close to each other. Like charges repel each other and they distribute uniformly on the surface of B like this. Now check the first and the last diagram. What is the total charge of A and B? 0. It means A and B are neutral bodies. Now look at the last diagram. A is positively charged, B is negatively charged. So this method is called charging by induction. Remember, charged body is not placed in contact with uncharged body. Still, the bodies get charged. This method of charging is called charging by induction. Charging by friction is nothing but rubbing two bodies against each other. Charging by conduction is nothing but placing charged body in contact with uncharged body. Charging by induction is no contact between charged body and uncharged body. There are several methods of charging a given body. Here we talk about only three methods: charging by friction, charging by conduction and charging by induction. After discussing so much about electric charges, so I have a special question in my mind. The question is it possible to detect electric charges? Is there a device used to detect electric charge? The answer is yes. A device used to detect electric charge is called electroscope. What is an electroscope? It is a device used to detect electric charges. So this is how an electroscope looks like. Electroscope contains a glass box and a small opening. A metal rod is placed in the opening such that part of the metal rod is inside and the remaining part is outside the glass box. Two thin pieces of gold are attached to lower end of metal rod. How a gold leaf electroscope works? It is very simple. You just place a charged body in contact with metal knob. What happens when a charged body is placed in contact with metal knob? I take a negatively charged body. So this is placed in contact with metal knob. You all know that metal is a good conductor. All the charges present on the body, charged body, enter metal rod and they start moving. all negative charges accumulate on gold leaf. Just look at the diagram. All negative charges are very close to each other. As a result, gold leaves move away from each other. Repulsion takes place and gold leaves move away from each other. The degree of divergence always tells you the charge on the body. Less repulsion between gold leaves means less number of charges are present on the body. If the degree of divergence is more, then I can say more number of charges are present on the body. Tell me what happens when I place a neutral body in contact with metal knob. This is a neutral body and it is placed in contact with metal knob. Nothing will happen. It means no repulsion between gold leaves. No repulsion means no charge on the body. Less repulsion means less number of charges are present on given body. More repulsion between gold leaf means more number of charges are present on given body. So, this is how a gold leaf electroscope works. Why it is called gold leaf electroscope? Because two thin pieces of gold are attached to metal rod. That is why it is called gold leaf electroscope. It is a special type of electroscope. We are using two thin pieces of gold. So, after today's class, you can explain what is an electric charge. It is a property responsible for electric force. You can also tell some of the properties of electric charges. The basic properties are addition of charges, conservation of charges and quantization of charges. In addition to basic property, we have a few other properties also, like charges repel, unlike charges attract, charges always reside on the surface of conductor, charge on a body is independent of motion of body. You can also explain what are conductors and insulators, and you learnt how to avoid electric shock to human bodies. You also learnt how to avoid electric shock. And you all know how many wires are present in domestic circuits: live wire, neutral wire and earth wire. And you also know why earth wire is very, very important. And I explained a few methods of charging a body. The method of charging a body is called electrification, and there are three methods: charging by friction, conduction and induction. You also know there is a device called electroscope which is used to detect electric charges. So, these are the topics that we studied in today's class. In the next class, I explain some of the interesting topics related to electric charges and electric fields, like Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law is used to find force between two charges. Very interesting law. I also explain principle of superposition. So, what is the force acting on one charge due to number of charges? I also explain what is electric field and what is the expression for electric field due to number of charges. It is also called principle of superposition applied to electric field. And I solve few problems related to electric field and Coulomb's law. So, these are the topics that I cover in the next class. I hope you enjoyed today's class a lot. So, be ready. So, there are more surprising concepts related to electric charges in the coming classes. I give some real life examples related to all the topics. See you in the next class. Thank you from Empower.